guys, my name is Kaylee. I'm a first year kindergarten teacher and welcome to Vlogmas Day 12. Hey guys, I'm currently editing this video and I just wanted to add this in there really quick before it starts. So this was filmed literally right after school had ended, like the 17th or 18th of December. And then in the video, I'll mention it. My computer was fixed, so I was editing it. It literally broke again. So I had to send it back into Apple, same exact issue. So I don't have it. And then Christmas happened and I just didn't have time to edit it. So when I was filming this, it was like a couple weeks ago now. So I'm so sorry. Vlogmas Day 12 is so late, but I'm just now getting around to filming it. But it is up for you guys, so let's go. But later in the video, I'm like, and my computer's fixed. I'm like, you thought. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A. Guys, we made it to the last day of Vlogmas. That is crazy. And again, just proves that I can do it and I need to stop making excuses. And in the new year, you will see a lot more videos from me. So I decided that I would do a little Q&A for my last day of Vlogmas. One, to just kind of wrap up this year and reflect over my first semester of teaching. But also I had you guys send in some questions, and so just to see what you guys are curious about and things that you guys have questions about. I'm excited, and thank you to everybody that sent in questions. I will try to put little screenshots of whoever sent the questions in on the screen. I have read the questions, but I have not thought about my answers really, and so I'm kind of just gonna ramble, and I hope that I can get some good answers. Before we start getting into the questions, I do just want to like take a couple seconds to reflect. I just cannot believe that it is December. My first semester of teaching is over. I'm halfway done. Like, I remember going to see my classroom the first time in June and thinking, oh my gosh, like it's so big. Like, I made a TikTok about it that first day I went, and all my classroom setup videos, I went back and watched some of them, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like even just to go back and tell that Kaylee like what I know now would be insane. The biggest thing I would tell her is just like, don't be scared. You're gonna have so much fun and you have really great kids and you're gonna love it. Because I think that is such a big fear that I had going into it. I was like, am I gonna be a good enough teacher? Am I gonna like my kids? Is it gonna be fun? That kind of stuff. Let's just get into some questions. So the first question, a couple of people asked this, is what college did you go to and what did you major in? People were like, if you don't want to share, that's fine. I don't really care sharing. I don't go there anymore and I don't even live in that city anymore, so I don't really care. I do live in Kansas and I went to Kansas State University. Go Cats. Love K-State so much. I majored in elementary education with a minor in leadership studies. I'm not really doing anything with my minor, but it was just really good classes to have even going into teaching, and you needed like a specific track that you were going on. Doesn't mean I want to be a principal or anything. Typically when you are an education major, you have to have like a focus or like an emphasis. So like some people might do an emphasis in reading or an emphasis in math. It doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't mean that you could be a reading interventionist. You have to go get your master's for that. But you do have to pick something. So mine was open option since I had a leadership minor. If you ever need a good education program, go to K-State. It's an amazing program. I'm considering going back for my master's, and I'll probably do it online through K-State, or maybe online through a different school in Kansas. Not sure. Haven't fully decided what I want to do yet with that, but I'm thinking about getting a master's in curriculum and instruction, and then one day, like 20 years down the road, I could be like an instructional coach or something and help new teachers. I feel like that would be so fun. Okay, and something kind of similar is someone asked, what inspired you to be a kindergarten teacher? So I don't think I'm gonna answer this more on what inspired me to be a teacher, not necessarily specifically kindergarten. I'll get more into that later. But what inspired me to be just a teacher? I don't know. I feel like it's a few different things. For me, I actually went into college open option major. I had not picked a major. So my whole first year of college, I was just taking a bunch of different classes to try to see what I liked and maybe what I could go into. But deep down, I kind of always knew that I wanted to be a teacher and I knew that's what I would pick. But honestly, a big thing was the money. I was like, well, if I do that, I'm not going to make good money. And this was back, my freshman year of college was 2019. So I feel like there was not like a rise of the education system is terrible and teacher shortage. Like none of that was really a thing yet. So it did not have an impact in my factor at all. I just wasn't sure if I wanted to do it, and I hate making decisions, so I think I was just scared to make the decision right away. April of my freshman year, COVID had just hit. I was at home And I was like, I don't want to take another year of just pointless classes. Yes, they're electives. I'll get credit for them, but they're not doing anything for my major. And so I really started to weigh my options, and I knew I didn't want to do anything science related because I hated the science classes and they were just, so I knew I wasn't going to go to the medical field. But I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And so I was that girl that always played teacher in her room with all of her imaginary students growing up. Like, that was me. Like, it's always been in the back of my head. I love kids so much. And so I just kind of always knew that I would do it at the end of the day. I think the reason I wanted to be a teacher, and a reason I still want to be one, is because I want to make an impact with my life. I want to make an impact in other people's lives. I want to leave a legacy, a positive one, and teaching is the best way to do that. And being that person for someone that doesn't have a person in their life that's there for them, and just, I'm getting to love on 21 5 and 6 year olds every single day, and it's just so, like, that is what brings me joy in life. And so a Christian, so just seeking first his kingdom and doing the Lord's work through my teaching, obviously not directly, but just loving them and loving their parents really well, is just getting to leave that positive impact. And so that is kind of why I wanted to be a teacher, just to be that person for someone. And even now, like, because there's such a bad rep with teachers of how it's like so bad and you shouldn't be a teacher or whatever, like, I want to be that person that can bring that joy back into the education system and can encourage people to be teachers, and to be a positive light in my school or wherever I'm at. And even on here, just trying to show people that it is awesome and you should be a teacher. Someone asked if I took a state exam to become a teacher, and yes, I assume everybody has to. It's a whole process in itself. I heard, so for me, I had to take 5 different tests. There's one called the Praxis, which is like the principles of learning. I heard you don't have to take that one anymore, which is so annoying. Missed it by 1 year. And then the other one, you have to take one for each content area. So like math, science, reading, and social studies. And you can take it all at once, and it's like an 1.5 to 2 hour test. I took them each individually. So I took math, and then I took reading, and then I took science. And I took them after I would finish that class. So like I did fail 2 of them. I failed math and I failed social studies. I had to retake both of those, but then I passed them the second time. But they're hard. They're really hard. And I kind of wish there was like a K through 2 certification and a 3 through 6 certification, because the test would be a lot different and they'd be easier to pass. But someone asked, what has been the best part about your first year of teaching? So many things. I don't know, so I might pick a couple. The best thing about my first year of teaching has been my students. I was so nervous about, am I gonna have good relationships with them? Are they gonna listen to me? Am I gonna be able to do this? All of these things. I feel like you question it. I had a really close relationships with the class I student taught for, and so I was like kind of grieving over that a little bit. Like, I lost that. I'm never getting that back. But oh my word, I'm obsessed with these kids. They're literally my best friends. I miss them every weekend. I miss them. Today is Tuesday of winter break, and so I haven't seen them in 4 days now, and I'm like, I just keep thinking about them. Like, I'm wondering what they're doing and what they're up to. I told their parents to send me pictures because I want to see what they're up to. I'm going to one of my students' dance recitals on Thursday, and I'm so excited. They love to learn, and so I think that makes it more fun to teach, and they're all very smart, so that also helps. But also with the students comes really good parents. I have not had any issues with parents, which is insane. They've all been so supportive of me, and I don't know if it's just because I'm a first year and they know that, and I'm like, they ask me questions and I'm like, I don't know the answer to that, but I can figure it out for you. Parent support too, and so I think that that is like my favorite part and the best part, because I've heard so many stories about how you have all these terrible kids and terrible parents, and so obviously everybody's experience is going to be different, and I definitely have behavior kids. Like, I have kids that drive me nuts every day. But at the end of the day, I still love them so much. So don't think that I have an angel class, because I don't. I definitely have some issues. I've built that relationship with them that I love them first before like getting so annoyed with them. And at the end of the day, even if they were like a terror and literally causing so much disruption, I still love them so much. And it does make me really nervous for years to come, because I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'm ever gonna have as good of a class as I did this first year. Glad I did, because now I know that there is good kids out there, there is potential, and just learning how to navigate things and learning how to handle them. So it has been so fun to just get to build relationships with them and get to see them grow. Really sad on the last day, leaving them for break because it's going to be like 20 days and I'm going to be a wreck on the last day of school. Like, I will be bawling my eyes out. So my students are definitely my favorite part, but I also have really good support and a good staff that like, what has been something that is more difficult than you expected, and what is something that has been easier than you expected? I think something that has been more difficult has just been the difference between districts. So when I student taught in the city that I went to college in, and so I'm in a completely different city, a completely different district, and it is just mind-blowing how different things can be even with just in districts. Because I also student taught for an entire year. I did a program where I got to teach for the whole year, student teach. And so I think it was also kind of felt like I had already come into teaching with a year under my belt, even though I had a specific way that we did things in that district and that my cooperating teacher did things, and I was used to that, and it flowed really well and I loved how it went, and like that was my vision, to implement things the exact same way and do the exact same things. And it is so different, and I don't even know how to explain it, but I think the biggest thing is like curriculum. All of the curriculum is completely different. There's only one thing that is the same, and it's math, reading, science, writing, social studies. All of it is different. So that has been really hard to learn different curriculums, and having experience with the other curriculums. I hate the curriculum that I have right now, and I wish I could go back to the ones when I was teaching, because you're able to plan a lot better. So learning new curriculums and learning how to plan has been very difficult. If I'm being honest, I don't even write my plans down. Most of the time I just show up, and you probably have seen it in my videos. I'd be like, okay, I need to figure out what I'm teaching today. And I'll go and I'll look and see what math lesson we're on. I'll pull up the stuff. I'll go and look and see what week we're on in phonics and read through it really fast. We subject plan, so I'm in charge of planning math and science, and my team teachers plan the other ones. So I'll check my email and see what my team teacher planned for reading. I just feel like I'm never fully prepared when I walk in to teach. And I want to figure out a better system because I don't like it. And that is the beauty with kindergarten, is the content is very easy to where I can do that. Like, oh, today I'm teaching them SH. Okay, perfect. I know that. But if it was in like 5th grade, I wouldn't know. So just finding that balance of learning new curriculums, trying to teach it the way the curriculum wants it, but also putting my spin on it, and also putting it on a way that each student's gonna like understand it, has just been difficult. And then something that I would say is easier than expected, honestly, I would say, I kind of already mentioned it, but just the building the relationships with students and the parents. Like, I thought it'd be kind of hard to win them over and to get them to like me and show them that I am capable of teaching your kids, but the parents were so welcoming, and they've never changed. They're so supportive. And then like the students, like, we just built relationships really quickly. I think I was so used to student teaching where like sometimes they wouldn't listen to me, but they would always listen to my cooperating teacher because that's their teacher. And so I just kind of assumed that would be how it was, but I'm their teacher. So they do listen to me, and they do see me as like the #1 authority in their life. Another thing is I was really scared about like figuring out how I want my things to go, like what I want my routines to be and my procedures and how I want to do things. But it kind of just comes with it. You kind of just figure it out. You try something and you're like, oh, I really like that. I'm going to do that again tomorrow. Or you don't like something and you never do it again. Next year is going to be so much better. Because I know what worked and what didn't work for this first semester. Especially like the first day of school. I feel like it's going to be a lot different for me next year because I know what to expect now, you know? And so that's part of your first year. You're just trying to figure it out. And eventually it'll all work itself out. But people have been asking if I am going to stay in kindergarten or if I want to teach a different grade in the future, and if it was like the grade I always wanted to teach. So I thought that was a good. So I don't know if I've told you. So when I was student teaching, I actually student taught in a 1st grade classroom, and I loved it. And I always thought I was going to teach 1st grade, always. That's why I chose that class as student teaching, because that's what I wanted to teach. And I still would. 1st grade was ideal, and that's what I wanted, and it's just such a fun age. I don't know, I love 1st grade. And honestly, if I'm being honest, I was that type of girl that said I would never teach kindergarten. I was like, no way am I teaching kindergarten. It looked so scary. When I was student teaching, the kindergartners at my school were just like crazy. I feel like on the radios and stuff, I was always like, oh, this so-and-so's on the loose, so-and-so did this, and it was always kindergarten. and they just would not listen. They were so bad. The teachers could never get like lessons done. I subbed for them a couple times, and so I was like, I'm never doing kindergarten. Like, oh my goodness, this is terrible. I can make a whole separate video about this maybe later in May or something, or April, talking about the process of getting a job and like interviewing and all that kind of stuff. It is so much harder than you might think. At least it was for me. I still did not have a job when I graduated college in mid-May, and I was so scared and so upset. I wanted a job like in April. Everything was taken. It felt like there was nothing available, and I was like, where's all these jobs if there's a quote-unquote teacher shortage? I didn't know where they were. I didn't know how to get jobs. I only had 2 interviews. One of them I never heard back from. The other one is the job I have. So the interview for this one, the only position she had left was kindergarten, and I was like, But I've heard such great things about the school. I heard really great things about her, the principal, and I was like, honestly, at least it's not something like a higher grade. Like, if it was 3rd, 4th, or 5th, I don't think I would have accepted it. I told myself I would do K1 or 2. I was kind of looking for a 1st or 2nd grade job, but then this one presented itself, and I was really scared. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be a kindergarten teacher. Like, what did I just do? Like, I'm here to report I am obsessed with kindergarten. I'm telling myself, I was like, maybe I'll really like it and I'll want to stay in kindergarten. And I'm honestly really glad I did, because what if I like went into 1st grade, loved it, and just stayed in 1st grade the rest of my career? Like, I don't know if I would have enjoyed that. So I'm obsessed with kindergarten, literally love it. So my plan is to stay in kindergarten for the near future. I'm living at home right now in my home state, and I have plans to move into a different city and live on my own and do all those kind of things. And at that point, I'll probably find a new job. That's like several years down the road though. And at that point, maybe I'll switch grade levels, but if I did, I would really only want to do 1st grade. I just love kindergarten and 1st now. One of my friends, Jenna, shout out to Jenna, love you girl. She's an education major, so she asked me this question. She said, what has been your favorite part specifically about kindergarten? And I feel like there's a few different things. So I have one, they're at that age where they think you are so cool and anything you say is just so awesome. And the difference between kindergarten and 5th grade, in kindergarten I could be like, okay, if you do this, I'm gonna give you a sticker, and they're like, oh my gosh, yay. If I said that in 5th grade, they'd be like, okay, cool. They're so easy to like motivate, I guess. Like, oh, do this and you get this, or if you can be quiet for 2 minutes and we'll get extra recess, stuff like that. I feel like it's been really fun. Just like the things that come to their minds and the things that they say, like the conversations that I have with them are my favorite. I'm this girl who talks to me like this. She'll be like, hey Miss Putnam, what's up? Girl, you look so cute. And I'm like, thanks girl, you too. And she'll just come up to my desk and say something completely random, and I'm like, what? Like, how'd you think of that? I have another little boy that's the same thing. He can never focus on one thought. And he came up to me and he said, do you have any tomato juice? And I was like, I don't have any tomato juice. Do you need some? And he was like, I don't need any, but do you have tomato juice? Just things like that. Like, I'm never gonna have those kind of conversations if I'm in 5th grade. And then I would say teaching them to read. That is one of my greatest joys of teaching, and that is why I loved 1st grade so much, is because you're really teaching them how to read. They're really working on all those foundations. Like, this whole 1st semester, we've barely started reading. We know all of our letter sounds now except for my lolos. We're working on blending and segmenting words, so like cat, and then blend it together, cat. So like joyful to get to see them get it and like segment a word correctly, or to read a blend correctly, or whatever it is. I'm just like, yes, you did it, good job. I don't think I will ever teach a grade that I'm not teaching them to read. So okay, and then my last question is from Shiny Happy something. I'll put her username here. By the way, shout out to you, girl. You've commented on like almost every single one of my vlogmases, and you've been so kind and so sweet and just always hyping me up and saying nice things. So thank you so much. If you're the only one that ever watches my videos, I will make them just for you. But she asked if I had any advice for somebody that is thinking about going into teaching, would want to, but isn't sure if they want to do it, and they aren't sure if they want to spend all this money just to figure that out. Which I think is a really great question. I feel like I have advice for 2 different people in this scope. So say you're someone like me that like deep down you know you want to be a teacher, but you're kind of scared, you're kind of hesitant, you don't know if you want to make that decision. That person, do it. Please just do it. Like, But if there's somebody else that you're not really sure, you maybe haven't always wanted to be a teacher, or you kind of do but you kind of don't, here's my advice. Such a bad reputation right now with teachers and the education system, and how there's a teacher shortage and everybody's leaving and everybody hates it and it's terrible and all these things. I hear about it every single day at work. There's teachers that, yeah, complain all the time. And I think that's just gonna be part of teaching for the rest of our careers. Honestly, like, people are gonna hate it and complain. I'd say if money is something that you're thinking about, like if you're like, well, I want to be a teacher, but I don't really, like, I know I'm not gonna make that much. Okay, that is what I said. Now, but then now, I'm kind of to the point now where I don't really care because I'm getting to do what I love. So if you don't really care about the money, like if you're like, well, yes, I won't be getting paid that much, but like I'm gonna get to do what I love, then do it. It gets really annoying when people continue to like complain about how teachers don't get paid well. Yeah, we don't get paid that well, but we also signed up for that, and you know that going in. And so if that's something that like you think in the long run is going to be a struggle for you, then maybe find something else. You're not getting paid enough, but also like if this is what you love, it shouldn't matter. That if you love kids and you love to impact people and you have a passion for teaching and it's something that you want to do, then do it. You will have to know that like it is going to be hard. Like I don't want to make it seem that I've had like all these happy times, because I have, but I've also had hard times. I've cried. Now, not as much as I thought I would, honestly. I've had moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, like today was a hard day, like I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. But you just have to look at the bigger picture. You just have to look at like, okay, think about your students, think about the kids that you're impacting, and then think about like how many kids you're gonna get to impact. Think about the people around you, like the people you work with that you could have the potential to impact. Like I said, yeah, I have some troubled kids, but at the end of the day, I still love them so much and I still want them to succeed and to grow. So that really annoys me is I have heard this so many times. Well, you're just a first year, like give it 15 years and you're not gonna want to do any of these things. You're not gonna want to do these fun things, or you're not gonna care as much. And yes, like maybe in 15 years I'll be a little bit more burnt out. I won't be as like young and joyful and fun, but like also I'm not gonna let that be my mindset. Like in 15 years, that class deserves just as much energy as my first class does. And so I'm not gonna change anything because I'm their teacher and I'm going to be their only kindergarten teacher ever. Like, I didn't fully answer your question, but it's really hard. But I also feel like it's what you make of it. At any district you teach in, any school that you teach at, there's going to be those people that talk bad about it. There's going to be those people that don't like their job, but you have to be that person that does like it and does say positive things and is excited to be there and loves on your kids. People in the world that continue to talk bad about education, but if it's something you're truly passionate about, like I would say do it. Like, I've gotten bad feedback in my walkthroughs, and yeah, I'm like, okay, but you don't know what it's like, blah blah blah. Like, yes, I've said those things, I've done those things, I've complained, I've been sad sometimes, I've been negative sometimes. But again, at the end of the day, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be a teacher, and I plan on doing this for the rest of my life. It is a really draining job, but you have to find ways to fulfill yourself. You have to find ways to get out of bed every day and do it. And if you're even thinking about doing it, then I would say just do it. We're always changing in education, so you do have to be very flexible and being willing to change things, being willing to change how you're teaching, and go with the flow, and that's just part of it. But at the end of the day, I love it, and I'm grateful that I went to that profession, and I have no regrets, and it's been truly such an amazing experience. All right, well, those are all of the questions that I had. Hopefully that was interesting for you guys to get a little perspective on how my first year's been going, and just some advice on if you want to be a teacher. The wrap up of vlogmas. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I'm super glad I did this because now I can look back on it for years to come, and next year maybe I'll try to do real vlogmas and do it every single day and not miss a day. And yeah, we'll see. Maybe let me know what are some videos you would like to see in January or in the new year. I might take a break from days in my life just because you guys have seen a lot of them, but if that's what you like, let me know. First video you guys will see in January is a classroom tour. Someone commented that, and it actually reminded me that I needed to do that. I never ended up filming one at the end of classroom setup because it wasn't fully done. It wasn't where I wanted my classroom to be. I think over break, actually, I'm gonna go into our school. There's a couple days that the building's open and film that for you guys. So stay tuned. My classroom tour, my official classroom tour should be coming out, the first video that you see in January. But besides that, let me know what are some videos you would like to see. I would love to film them for you guys. and I got my computer back. So I can edit now. I can put them out like crazy for you guys, so let me know. I'm also going to try to upload more on TikTok and do some short form type of stuff for you guys. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Kindergarten with Kaylee. Thanks so much, and I'm so glad that you guys stuck around for Vlogmas and that you enjoyed it, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. I will see you guys in the new year. Bye guys.